Hello and welcome to Education at SSBG, online video tutorials. And we are here with another content of CBSE Class 8th, Chapter Crop Production and Management. All living beings need water to live. Water is important for proper growth and development. Water is absorbed by the plant roots. Along with water, minerals, fertilizers are also absorbed. Do you know? Plants contain nearly 90% of water. Water is essential because germination of seeds does not take place under dry conditions. Nutrients dissolved in water are transported to each part of the plant. To maintain the moisture of the soil for healthy crop growth, fields have to be watered regularly. The supply of water to crops at regular intervals is called irrigation. The time and frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop, soil to soil, and season to season. In summer, we have to water frequently. So, what may be the reason? Traditional methods of irrigation was different than the present day methods. Lot of labor was to be used during those days. The water available in the wells, lakes, canals is lifted up by different methods. Human labor, animals were used. Sometimes chains were made use to pull the water up. Rahat is one such system which has given rise to present day system of using water pump. Present day, the process of irrigation involves use of water pump, electricity. The main two methods of irrigation nowadays is drip irrigation and then the use of sprinklers. We shall see in detail about this drip irrigation and using of sprinklers.
How you can use these small things and make your own drip irrigation, right? Now this is a small tap, water tap, right? So you can turn this knob here. You can turn the knob and control the water flow. Right? Now this is what is called a T. So this can be connected this way, and now at another end you can connect like this, right? So let us say that this pipe this pipe has gone to the main pipe from where the water is pumped, right? And that water is going to come here and it is going to flow from here, right? So what I am going to do now is I'll take one more pipe like this. These pipes are available in the market. Just fix it and then take a tap, and you can see there are some grooves here in the tap. You can fix it like this. So it's almost a permanent now. Now the water flows here, right? And like this, many will be, depends on at what distance your plants are. Many are there at different distance. So like that, as many plants are there, so many such arrangements to be done. And then first time you have to control during the flow of water the speed of the flow. So whether you require a drip wise or a bit speeder flow, it depends on the plants where this is actually arranged, right? This is what, and these are not costly items. This tap is available just for 2 to 3 rupees in the market. This tube, a long tube, you can buy and cut it in between wherever you require to keep, right? This tea again is about less than 2-3 rupees. So in 100, 200, all these items will come, and this is around 1500. You can have a very lengthy pipe, right? And these are all available. Okay, you can see here so many plants in front of you now. Some plants are actually wanted, you know. So this is a plant which is actually required, and these are all actually planted ones here. And these are actually not to be planted so close. Do you know why? Because the soil which provides the nutrients to these, right? They are not actually sufficient if the plants are very close to each other. So we should have taken it out and planted separately, keeping some distance here. But however, the point to be noted here, along with these plants, we have some other plants like this, right? We have some other plants like this. So these are unwanted plants. You can see here, this is the unwanted plant. And these unwanted plants are plenty here. This is one more unwanted plant. Here is one more plant which is unwanted. Now, even if you don't want, still they grow, right? The problem is that they also absorb the nutrients of the soil. So then these problems are these unwanted plants are called weeds, right? Now these weeds are to be removed, and the process of removing weeds is called weeding. So what I am doing is I am manually pulling it out like this. See, some weeds can be simply pulled and uproot them from the ground. This is one way we can do a weeding process, right? But every time we cannot do just by pulling. We can take out the weeds, right? So then we have to use some instruments. So it's a sickle here, right? So this can be used to take out some of the weeds which are there here, right? I'm going to take out one weed, right? This is again a weed, right? It's a parthenium, right? Now you can't simply pull it here, because if you pull it, the root will still be there, right? So what I'm doing, I'm using this one, I'm just uproot it like this. So it comes with the root only. So that can be thrown, or this can be separately put at one corner, and sometimes it is burnt, right? And these plants, so called weeds, right, they are to be uprooted or manually removed as early as possible before they grow, mature and spread seeds all around, right? Once they grow tall and get the seeds, then these seeds fall around here on the soil, and in the rainy season once again they grow. So this is, again you see, this is a weed, right? Now this is one way of removing the weed. Otherwise we have to apply some chemicals, right? So if you apply chemicals, then that chemicals will be spread even on these wanted plants. So the people who consume this will be indirectly eating those chemicals. So it is not good for the person who are consuming it, even for the farmer. So weedicides are not so much recommended, right?
Once the crop is grown completely, we then call that crop is a matured crop. And now it's a time to collect the crop. The cutting of crop after it is matured is called harvesting. Harvesting of a crop is an important task. And what do we do during harvesting? In harvesting, crops are pulled out or cut close to the ground. It usually takes 3 to 4 months for a cereal crop to mature. You must have seen harvesting of crop. Harvesting in our country is either done manually by sickle, isn't it? Or nowadays by machine. And what do you call that machine? Harvester, right? In the harvested crop, the grain seeds needs to be separated from the husk. How do we separate grain from the husk? You have studied this process in class 6th. And what is that process called? Threshing. And what does threshing mean? Beating the crop. But now it is carried out with the help of machine called combine, which is in fact a harvester as well as a thresher. Farmers with small holdings of land do the separation of grain and husk by the process of winnowing. And what is that winnowing process? The process of separating heavier and lighter components of a mixture by wind or by blowing air. And that is what is called winnowing. Well, now it's a time to revise and summarize. Now in this unit we have learned what is irrigation, one of the steps towards crop production and management. Now what is irrigation? Irrigation is simply a supply of water to crops at regular intervals, right? In olden days manpower was used to supply water. People used to draw water from the well, sometimes by using pulley system. These are all traditional methods of irrigation. Sometimes by using chains. Which are winded on a huge wheel, so that when the wheel rotates, a bucket which is attached to the wheel could collect some water, and when it comes up on the surface of the ground, it can pour that water. Heavy weights were made use to lift the water from the well. There was a method which was followed called rahat. Animals were made use to get the water from the well. Now you must have seen here in this picture a great wheel, and then small containers were tied. So when it rotates, it goes down and reaches the surface of the water, goes inside the water and collects the water and comes up. The whole process was to be get it done by using animals, and sometimes humans used to rotate also. But these practices changed once the motor, electric motor, was invented, and that has changed the way how the irrigation is done in the field of agriculture. As the population increased, requirement of crop also increased. So as the crop requirement increased, the growth of more of crop requires more of irrigation, more of water. Now we have to manage water. And how do we manage water? By using sprinklers and drip irrigation. Sprinklers, you must have seen, at one end motor will push the water from the well, and that water goes through the pipe and enters to the sprinkler here, a small device which contains small hole around, which rotates also sometimes, and with that water speed it goes around and sprinkle all around the farm. Second best way of managing water is a drip irrigation. You have already seen the demonstration of how drip irrigations can be done at your level, right? The water is controlled here, and supply of water is to the plant is by drip. And next we have seen the protection from weeds, right? And what are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants, and they trouble the actual plants which are planted. So they are to be removed. They are to be removed either manually or by using chemicals. And the chemicals which are used to remove weeds are called weedicides. But spraying weedicides may affect the health of the farmers. So they should be used very carefully. And here we have summarized, somewhat revised in brief the contents of this unit, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.